Hello, and welcome to the second episode, not of the Director's Lounge podcast. We had to scrap that.
Yes.
Someone's already taken the name. But of the post-production podcast. On my right, your left.
You're in now. Spontaneous Mike.
Speaks for himself. And on my left, we have producer T.
Back again, not by request, but by necessity.
That's good, I like
I'm
that.
back, so good to see.
Is that camera recording?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's recording.
Yeah.
So I got up in your frame there, Tom.
Oh, you're all good. Adam's in my frame right now, look at him.
Oh,
No, but
goodness.
like-
He's got the binoculars, like.
Yeah, sure, it's flashing red at the top right. That one is too. The red dot.
Oh my god, I'm blind.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
Right. So, we'll get this out of the way first. Patreon.com /ZeusWeusFilm.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see the uncut versions of the podcast, where we can uncensor all of Michael's expressions,
Yeah.
you'll find them on Patreon.com.
Because he's got lucky last time. Adam on the editing didn't get all the swears. Quite a few of them actually. But this time we are being stringent with it.
First
Very
one,
careful.
first one's free, but the rest of them, no.
Yeah.
Ah,
And we can't plug the merch store because it's not ready.
Mhm.
Okay. But soon, we're
Soon.
going to get some. Do you want to disclose some of the stuff we're going to get in the store?
Mhm.
We have stickers. We have t-shirts.
What about the mugs?
We can't forget the mugs.
Mugs. We might even have some mugs here soon.
Yeah, a bit of whiskey. Yeah.
You got to add the medicine?
Whiskey in a mug.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we have it with coffee.
Okay.
Coffee,
Yeah.
coffee and
It's
whiskey.
an alcoholic thing.
Irish coffee. Anyway, so that's the
that.
plugs out of the way. I figured we'll start by talking about how we feel about last week's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How'd it go?
I mean, it was received really well.
Yeah.
Let's start
I
there.
would say I didn't expect to see as much of myself as I did. I was quite happy with how it turned out after filming it, because when you're filming it, you kind of just go through and you're kind of, I hope this looks okay, I hope this works. Especially the start of it was very much like, this is ropes. But it came across really well. It came across really fun, and it's kind of what we want from our podcast.
Yeah.
It's meant to be the personality side of this channel, so like
Exactly.
other than the hunters, but like
Oh yeah.
I thought it went really well. I really enjoyed it. I watched it,
Mm.
watched through it, heard some things I said and was glad it was censored. Heard some things that I said and was well,
Some technical.
I assumed they would have been censored,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was good. What do you think of it, Mike?
Yeah, I liked it. You know, it got a bit radical at times,
Mm-hmm.
but we had a lot of conversations from that
Mhm.
point.
Yeah,
And how we want to clean up our act, and not be as.
the more it goes on, the more clean it will be.
Yeah. We're not really bad people.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast is about reintegrating us to society.
Practically is.
This is our community service to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh god. We did get some mostly good feedback. We got
Mhm.
some negative.
Yeah,
But it was a pilot.
yeah, it's a pilot episode.
Mm.
We had a lot of technical issues.
Yeah. Well, the technical issues, like, it comes, like, with the setups that we make. Like, this isn't our setup that we would want for the entire series.
No.
Well, it's one we're using for now because it's very handy.
Yeah.
And also, it looks pretty good.
Mm.
Like, but we are hoping to, at one point, have our own setup or our own area sort of designated for our podcasting.
Studio, yeah.
Yeah, so like, I would say for our first one, like they can't see. Like we said it last week, they can't see the way this mic sets up. But if you've seen it, you'd literally just question like, this, like, what does the rest of it look like? So I think it's going really well.
Yeah.
See, it does look professional on the camera the way it's just like sort of like coming into frame,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's literally bad. Like if that slips, the
Yeah.
mic's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But it works. It all just works.
Some sort of ancient seesaw technique going on here. I would put it as
National Geographic.
National Geographic, sure.
No,
Yeah.
it was fun to make, but I can tell you one thing right now. editing is my favourite thing. Like, it's my favourite, like, position to play, I suppose.
Yeah, in the production.
In the production of something. If we ever get to the point that this is successful, I'm hiring an editor.
Yeah, because for all you watch your favourite YouTubers at home and then watch these podcasts or whatever, all these videos, they don't edit it themselves most of the time. They may start doing it, but Adam here, he has to edit them. He has to go through the pain and the suffering of hearing it all back multiple times, cutting it all for all these videos. Like, what was it? The next Hunter Files episode has about an hour or something footage that he had, having to cut that down. So and the podcast was like 2 hours 30 minutes. Had to get cut down.
Yeah, it's worth it though because those videos get like the most views. So.
Yeah, it's like I've said, it's probably it's fun content for me and Michael to make as well. So
yeah,
it's all good.
Speaking of Hunter Files,
yes.
By the time this comes out, they'll obviously have seen
the second episode.
My God. Yeah, so good. You know, we film it at night time this time, and it's scary. So prepare.
It was fun for sure.
You know, it's definitely not a family watch. That's for sure. That's what I'm gonna say. You know.
I mean, you could probably watch it with your family,
but make sure they're blindfolded. Because that shit's scary. Honestly, I was jumping on my seat when Adam showed us.
Well, Adam, how about a brief kind of synopsis of what this episode of Hunter Files is about after the first episode? So give us like a rundown of the end of the last one and then into the...
Well, for anyone that hasn't seen them, Hunter Files episode 1 was me and Spontaneous Mike here. We went to the unnamed forest and in search of the beast of Ballyboogie.
Yeah. We
get there and Michael has an encounter with the beast.
Yeah. An unwarranted encounter. I mean, viewers will know.
But the second episode is all about us going back at night time, this time with a gun, because we want to finish this beast off once and for all.
Or do we? I mean,
we do.
We met some new people on the journey too. But that will all be disclosed in the video because I'm not spoiling shit.
Yeah, never mind. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Well, we don't have to spoil
I want to.
But what was it like spending all those years in Gary Forest?
Well, you know, them 2 years I spent in Gary Forest was quite the experience. But it got cut down to about 5 seconds.
About 5 seconds.
Well, you're right.
It seems like you enjoyed your time there more, I guess.
Yeah, with my really clean white shoes when I'm running out. It's really clean looking.
Oh God!
Out.
Yeah, one of your shoes was like submerged in dirt.
Yeah.
Did you get that cleaned, okay?
No, they're still dirty as
white shoes in Gary's Forest.
So
not Gary's Forest.
Censored. We
right.
doxed ourselves.
Okay. Well, he sacrificed his shoe for the show, so it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, but so as we're going through the idea of no Hunter Files, and the lights just went off. That's okay. Though, we'll just continue.
Oh goodness.
So
what is happening? Why are the lights like dying so fast?
I don't know. It's just the way it goes.
That one was fully charged.
Oh well.
Hit the light. We might as well just
see.
Nope.
That's not them all.
Oh, that literally did not.
That literally does nothing. What's this do?
Leave them all on.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Let's go with this one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It'll have to do.
Technical difficulties, folks. Technical difficulties still running for you.
Are you me bright enough?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
You can't even see your mustache.
This is what happens when you buy your equipment from Wish.
Yeah.
I'm not going on Shein again for equipment.
This is the last time I go on ASOS for my equipment.
What was it? So Hunter Files, we're now 2 episodes in. So this now concludes the Beast of Ballyboogie segment of Hunter Files.
Maybe revisit it.
Maybe revisit at some point. We do have a plan with Hunter Files where we sort of have an idea where we're going to do 2 to 3 episodes on each encounter. I'm just going to call it encounter just because we don't fully know like where we'll go or what we're actually going to investigate.
They might not all be at a forest.
We're hoping they're not going to be all at forest because that will be completely the same video over and over
there's
again.
There's probably a few that'll be like a one story thing as well.
Yeah.
We pop in, bust a few ghosts, and we leave.
Premium lager moments. That's a key moment.
Key lager moments.
Yeah. So look out for that.
And also, we're hopefully at some point going to take Huntophiles abroad. Or maybe even down South Ireland, because we live in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
We'll see. This is the plans for Huntophiles, but you never know what could happen.
Plan is we save money, and we make the show here, and then we just go on like a road trip to America and just visit the most haunted places.
Yeah, that'd be the...
All I'm going to say about this week's episode, this is like, all I can say about this spoiler side is, guys, you're lucky to have Adam here filming this podcast. Because, well, I don't even know, me and Mike, we've seen some stuff.
Man, it got sketchy.
It got sketchy.
The rats flying around the thing. I don't even want to get into, the trauma. We don't even have the life insurance on the channel yet, so, these scars are real. But yeah, that's all for another episode.
Yeah. Going on from Huntophiles now.
Why?
So, the content this week so far.
Yes.
So there's been 3 videos. We'll go through them.
We have, on Monday, we launched ZeusWeusFilm School.
And
it was 2 minutes long.
Yes.
But, I was announcing the series, so made a nice wee intro. Got the schoolyard sign. It's got like a bell. But, plan is, we're going to start very simple this Monday coming with a tutorial on how to use a camera. Sounds simple, but it's actually...
Yeah, there's still a lot of people out there who don't know what they're doing with a camera, so, essential knowledge.
Yeah.
You probably teach me a few things, I say you're probably better with cameras than me.
Well, we never got taught how to use cameras, we were just given them.
College, yeah.
So
That's
we're
a fair
sort of
point.
like...
The camcorders in college, but no one's actually going to use them. They're terrible.
Did we get taught how to use those?
Not even. No. That's the thing.
Well, I know.
Take that much knowledge away from it.
Well, I know I'll be watching it because many spoiler for Huntophiles. I am our camera operator for most of Huntophiles and the future episodes. So I don't really know actually how to operate cameras too well. I know the basics, but actually seeing how to go through a camera and actually change focuses, etc. Because I've done photography before, but videography I've never actually really delved into.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see that that side of it for myself and actually learn from it. So just be like me and learn. That's basically what you should do.
Exactly. Yeah. The actual cool part of it as well is I'll be filming on that camera.
Yes.
And it'll be that one I'm working with, but because they're identical cameras, it'll be you'll be seeing a guide of a camera while also seeing what the footage of that camera can look like. It's going to be perfect.
So how in depth do you go in the video? So you talk about the settings?
Just be like, so this is the on button.
Oh god, no one's going to learn anything. They're just like it.
Well, no,
if
you have any problems, turn it off and on again and hope it comes back on.
Just pretend you know what you're doing.
We'll see, because the thing is, there's obviously a lot of tutorials on YouTube. And that, when I say ZeusWeusFilm School, I don't want to get ahead of myself and be like, it's actually some kind of school. It's not. It's basically just a name for a series that I'm going to do tutorials under.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people on YouTube that can do that a lot more professionally. But who knows?
You might as well use your experience.
Might as well put it out there, see if there's I can help someone out. That's the series I'll do. The one I talked about in the last episode, which was how to shoot your first wedding by yourself.
Yeah.
That'll be an episode of ZeusWeusFilm School, that type of thing.
So, thing of them for now is ZeusWeusFilm lessons. That's almost what it is, but then it kind of builds into a school overall as you're going. Is you have 100 videos up. That's what you can say, school.
That's when I take it all down and put it on Patreon and charge money.
Yeah.
But there's that, and then second episode of Beyond Film. This time it was talking about getting good sleep.
Yes.
We were all very good at today.
Oh. No.
I was the best at it, to be honest. I was good. But I know from past...
Your sleep's good, yeah.
My sleep's alright. His is awful half the time. So the fact he's even talking about it in a video is absolute cap.
God.
It's just the most...
We're all working on it.
Hypocrisy.
You just say cap in my podcast.
Yeah.
Is there caps a lot?
Is there caps a lot?
Oh wow.
Right,
So Beyond Film was about trying to get the right amount of sleep.
Pretty much. I probably should have done this in the first episode,
Mm-hmm.
but the whole point of like the episode was like, look, it will give you like a lot of like, I want to probably talk about a lot of things in Beyond Film, and just in ZeusWeusFilm in general.
Mm.
There's no point like with that series in the school. There's no point like paying attention to any of it if you don't take care of good sleep first, because then you won't be able to take full advantage of everything else. That's basically.
And it helps with motivation and like happiness. You're mentioning too.
Yeah.
Just true. I looked into it after.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's weird. Just like one of those things. Just like you kind of just neglect it, and then you're like, oh well.
Yeah, like you're blaming other things and why you feel certain ways and you're not motivated.
Yeah.
And it's probably day of sleep.
Well, like, to put in like kind of like a metaphor term, it's like, well, before this episode, we had to charge the batteries for the cameras.
Yeah.
You wouldn't try to use the cameras without charging the battery. So why would you not get enough?
Yeah.
Well, you could
get enough rest yourself
halfway through. The same applies to the like.
Yeah, like when I go to work and I just die halfway through and just drop down.
Just drop
Yeah.
and just like.
Well, that's the thing with life. If you don't get enough sleep throughout life, that's what makes you prone to heart attacks and shit.
That's actually is it?
That's true. Yeah. It's
Fact.
scary though.
Fact, guys.
Fact.
Yeah. No, you need to sleep a lot. If you don't do it, man, you're gonna drop down.
Well, I'll tell you a video I really enjoyed this week.
I'm dead too dead for you.
I'm already dead.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a video I really enjoyed this week. And it's kind of because it's almost inspiration for why we make Hunter Files to an extent, is this type of movie, was Troll Hunter, your video on Troll Hunter.
Yes. Second episode where we talk about. But it was the first one that we actually talked about a film.
Yeah.
Because I even said in the video, wasn't sure how to start the series off. Like, talk about a film that I've seen recently, something that it's one of my favourites or something that's out at the minute. But like, ever since we like rewatched Troll Hunter, I just couldn't stop like thinking about it. So
yeah, that was the first time I watched it too, and
that was the first time.
it was really good. Like, I heard a lot about the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember seeing it in Extra Vision when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But never watched it.
I cut that
Really
bit
good.
out of the video on Wednesday because I think I messed up the sentence or something after it. But I meant to say in that video, that's where I got Troll Hunter originally, was Extra Vision.
Oh, right, the one on Bad Money, yeah. Yeah,
That still
yeah.
existed.
Oh, memories.
Yeah. But, no, because the thing is, I really like found footage horror movies.
Yeah, they're really good.
But, like, there's some of them that are, like, great, some of them that are terrible. But I think the way I sort of put it in the video is the reason I like Troll Hunter so much is because it feels like a realistic handling of, like, what if trolls existed. But at the same time, they do manage to, like, squeeze in a lot of, like, troll like folklore.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I think I told you this the other night when I showed you a clip from it.
Yeah.
You were like, "Oh, it's the troll under the bridge."
Yeah.
Obviously, he makes an appearance,
Mm.
and then one of the interesting parts is like, spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen it. So they have a cameraman, right? There's three of them. There's male and female, or male presenter, female like boom mic operator, and then there's the cameraman. So they're there. The old adage of like trolls can smell the blood of a Christian man.
Yeah.
Well, the cameraman happens to be a Christian man. He doesn't tell anyone because he's scared. He doesn't know what to say. And eventually, that gets them in the bother because they're stuck in a cave with a whole bunch of trolls and they're like trying to hide, and they know he's there because they can smell him. And when they run, spoiler alert, he doesn't make it out. He gets eaten.
Yeah.
But then they have to ring and get like another camera operator in.
Yeah.
And this girl shows up and she's a Muslim, and they actually have a conversation with each other, being like, "Is that going to have like the same effect? Are we going to be okay?" And it's like
that curveball.
yeah, it's like, but it's kind of like a realistic sort of like handling
Yeah,
of
like,
that old adage. Like, well, would it count?
It sort of mixes in myth
Yeah,
and real life to an extent, and actually
Yeah.
puts in like the beat into it, like what is actually happening and stuff like that. There,
pretty much.
the thing that we were talking about, I remember me and you had a conversation about this week before the video was. I don't know if it was. I think it was after you made the video, so you'd already filmed and all that. There was we were having a conversation about it, and I just looked up there now. That film was filmed in 2010, released in 2011.
Yeah.
The CGI in that movie still holds up really well. It's almost like like Avatar. Remember when it came out? Its CGI still holds up. I would almost say maybe not on the same level, obviously, but to an extent, when you look at some movies in like the early 2000s, 2010s, their CGI doesn't hold up. Even Marvel movies nowadays, when you look at their CGI movies, they do not look good.
No,
Whenever I looked at Troll Hunter, I actually thought, I was like, you can tell obviously it's not a real troll,
obviously,
but it's good enough to actually make me believe and actually make me feel sort of
involved in the story.
Yeah, involved in the story.
It doesn't take you away from it.
It doesn't ruin my immersion. That's the word, immersion. It doesn't ruin my immersion. I wasn't like, oh, like, there's another CGI troll dawning about there. Like, it actually looked like a good like actual CG troll for that time as well. I would happily watch that movie now and be like, still be as impressed.
I think I mentioned something like that in the podcast, where it was not the podcast, Jesus, the video. Where it was like, I'm sure the fact that the troll sightings were mainly at night probably helped, because then it's harder to tell, you know, bad CGI. But like, for a Norwegian horror film in 2010, like, it's really good CGI.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I mentioned in that video, which I was talking to Michael about today, is similar to another really good Scandinavian horror film, Let the Right One In. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen it, no.
It's a Swedish film instead of Norwegian, but it's about this this wee boy and like this girl moves in like a flat, like I think it was, I don't know, a flat in like the same sort of like complex that he's living in, and basically it turns out she's a vampire. It's a really good film, and it got an American remake called Let Me In, and it's not too great. It's not that it's not too great. It's not. I don't think it captures the same thing that the original did. The original,
it's more Hollywood.
Yeah, like it's more like the original focuses more on like the friendship between them two, and the American one doesn't feel like it puts as much time into that. But Troll Hunter was actually going to get the same treatment, and then apparently in 2016 the project fell apart. But for like a good 5 years, the plan was that Troll Hunter would be getting an American remake.
Which I'm guessing, like, for you're kind of glad that didn't actually fall through to an extent.
I mean, I would have been interested to see what they would have done. I couldn't see it being better. And like
Mark Wahlberg.
Kevin Hart in it.
Yeah, they're just
the
like,
troll's coming.
It's Mark Wahlberg, Kevin Hart as college students.
On a field trip or something like that.
Yeah.
Tom Holland plays a 14-year-old.
Oh God. Yeah, but no, we were talking about like CGI in the car on the way up, and how, like, no matter how good the CGI is, and it can sometimes take you out of things a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like, no matter how good it is, like Game of Thrones had some of the best CGI apparently, but you know, nothing looks real enough. And we mentioned how practical effects were better in most cases.
Well, that's like, for me, like, when I go sit down and watch movies now, you just watch, like, even if they're really cheesy and really bad, I really love watching like 80s action movies with as little CG as possible, really cringy acting, but like
it makes it so
over
funny,
the top practical effects.
Yeah,
it's so good. But whenever you come to newer movies and you're seeing them as like all the CGI, it does kind of make you wonder sometimes, like, what is real and what is fake in movies. Like, whenever I see a giant troll, it's like, I'm never going to think, like, remember, was it the original Star Wars? Chewbacca was actually a guy in a suit, for the most part.
Oh yeah, of course it did.
Whereas I'm pretty sure now it's like most of the stuff's all like,
is it CGI now?
CG, like all the aliens are for CG most of the time. I'm not fully sure about that, but I feel it would be for like the mass amounts of like they try to fill the space of like the actual scenes. I feel like a lot of it would just be CG.
Here's the weird thing about the new Star Wars ones. I actually think it might be the opposite. At least for the sequel movies, the shows, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know about all of the movies, but I remember hearing that. Do you remember the bit in the Rise of Skywalker? There's like the big bazaar sort of thing happening where they meet Lando. I don't know if you remember it. It's like years ago. But apparently, like the hundreds or thousands of people that were there were all actual like paid extras in costumes, which don't know why you go to that much effort for a film that was.
And this is why I'm behind the camera, not the one actually doing the videos. Because I just don't know as much. Like, that's the thing. I just don't know as much. But like, I don't know. I like CGI, but I prefer seeing a lot of practical effects. Practical effects is just far more fun.
Do you ever wonder why they go for CGI over practical? Because surely CGI is expensive.
Well, I would honestly say it's probably more for safety a lot of the time. Like, if you have a stunt getting done and it's like, you could like either CG an explosion or you could put an actual explosion in. Well, there's more chance of someone getting hurt if you
it's risk assessments, all that. That whole process should get into, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, like, I would say a lot of time as well, it might just it might cut down filming time if they're having to set up practical stuff.
Oh yeah, like
Filming time, well, it goes both ways with CGI though. If you have the budget set aside to make the CGI, whatever it is, the time can kind of run out too, and they can rush it.
Oh,
That's usually a lot of cases when working with production studios and films.
Well, like, sure, like, if you looked at, like, movies like Indies and stuff, like, all of them are, like, mostly, I'd say, like, 90% of sets would have been just practical sets set up or, like, built. I swear, the amount of times I've seen it behind the scenes, and, like, I'm going to mention Marvel again here, where it's, like, you just see Marvel as a giant blue screen with, like, a rock in the middle.
Yeah. That's what I was just thinking of it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of, like, it literally is just, like, make your own set with a green screen.
Yeah.
And it's kind of why I do like watching older movies at times. It's just because you get that more sense of realism. And I understand for, like, you can't really get a sense of realism whenever, like, you got Thanos running about like purple alien but, like, it's like, I kind of just like, I like watching Jean-Claude Van Damme just sort of just, like, going do bicycle kicks and, like, stuff like that. It's just fun.
It's interesting what they're doing with, like, CGI now though, because it's very technological, and like, everything's, like, very computer based. And it seems like they haven't mastered it, but they're on a road to making this thing look amazing, or, like, next level.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all about the way it's used, because it can be used in a way that makes the film way better.
Yeah,
like, I was looking into it the other day. Like Motherless Brooklyn. There's a lot of shots in it that you wouldn't know it, but they're CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you take, like, an aerial shot of New York City now, it's not going to look like, 1940s New York. So a lot of CGI was using that, but because it's used in a crafty way, just to sort of manipulate things about a scene to make it look, like, old, you wouldn't really notice it as much. So it can be used.
That's true.
In that
the
way.
Places in New York, so they use, like, the old New York places.
Yeah.
And then that's still modernized to a degree. So they're taking this, like, they've just switched, like, buildings and how they look, really. It's really crafty, but it's a good film to watch.
Well, even, like, the most recent Batman movie, they filmed scenes of it in Liverpool just because of the old architecture, because it wouldn't be, like, a lot of America, like, obviously it's modernized architecture, so they came over to get more Gothic styled architecture in England. So it's like, you always have stuff like that, which is always very cool to me. Like, the idea is, like, for example, Game of Thrones filmed in our country, truly. So it's like, I kind of, I love the way that, like, some things are used in actual films, like countries and different things are used for certain sets and
that's true,
places. But also the fact that if you want to nowadays, you can just create whatever you want to.
It's cool having the option, but it's also sometimes good to consider what would be better for your film. Sometimes, if you want to do, like, if I want to do a science fiction film set on Mars, I'm not going to, like, pop up to, like, Belfast and film it there. It's like, you have to make your own set.
Yeah.
But
well, like, our CG's amazing.
Oh, I'm expecting an Oscar in the post for the Hunter Files, I'm telling you.
More than an Oscar, man.
See, here's the one where I wonder if there's anyone who maybe doesn't, like, they don't have a sense of humour, right? That watches the Hunter Files and thinks that's our legitimate attempt at CGI. I actually wonder if there will ever be a day someone watches Hunter Files and is like, is that their, like, serious attempt?
Well, I think by the end of the first episode, if there's anyone who actually watches think that's, like, they're being, like, serious, they're being serious, you are stupid. You're stupid. I set the camera just to make sure.
I mean, you say that, but there's probably people that wouldn't get our humour. That are like, they just don't find it. They don't.
No, but that's fine though. If you don't find it funny, don't find it funny.
Oh no, I know that. But if they don't get our humour and they don't find it funny, they might not think we're trying to be funny. They might think this is just us.
We're just probably.
They might think this is just what
we're out of whack. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
like in my opinion, you can there's videos you can tell are real. There's videos you can tell are like fake. Like our thing is about the Hunter Files is the story is meaning it's gonna be us. Like, we're having fun for we're actually, but we actually do want to go and explore some places and actually investigate some things. So it might get more serious down the line, but like, I think as soon as you see the CG get used, like at that point you have to know it's what it's like. At that point you have to.
Oh well, some people might not get it.
Okay.
But going back, because we were talking about beforehand about Troll Hunter.
CGI.
Oh, we're talking about CGI, but we're talking about CGI from Troll Hunter.
Yeah.
So Troll Hunter actually kind of did. That is kind of like found footage is what inspired us, or mainly you, to try hunt the files. So I was just gonna say, other than the found footage films,
Yeah.
what would you say are like some of your like favorite films that you've actually like watched recently, other than like Troll Hunter?
I just watched recently.
Yeah.
Well,
Or just of all time, like whatever you guys want.
Well, I'd say we'd be better doing like an actual episode dedicated to our favourite films of all time.
Yeah.
But if we're talking recently, I mean, we all three of us watched Layer Cake.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
that's not what I've ever heard about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just seen it on Netflix and it just looks decent.
We just seen Daniel Craig and was like, it must
Yeah, it's
be
gotta
okay.
be good.
It's gotta be
James
good.
Bond in it.
From
funny,
JB in it, like.
funny
JB.
story. I was reading about this because I was looking into the film when I went home.
Mhm.
Do you remember the scene when he came down the hallway and he was like, going like that there with a gun,
Yeah.
Mm.
and like you sort of laughed and you're like, James Bond. I didn't realise Layer Cake was made 2 years before he came out in Casino Royale.
Was it made before Casino Royale?
Apparently, the producers, Barbara Broccoli from Eon Productions, seen that and was like, Bond.
Actually?
Whoa,
Apparently,
it discovered.
I'm not even
that.
joking. Apparently, Layer Cake was the film that caught. Well, see, I don't know because I've heard conflicting things. I've heard that Layer Cake was the film that got them to consider Daniel Craig for the role, but then I've also heard that apparently they've been considering Daniel Craig since the late 90s.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, that's the weird thing. Is like whenever I was watching like, and I was looking towards the TV. I don't know why I started with that. Whenever we were watching it, I don't know why, but I think of No Casino Royale.
yeah,
I think it looks older than Layer Cake. Whenever I look at like how the
Yeah,
grading
Casino
looks,
Royale feels ancient.
it looks really old in
Yeah.
my opinion. And I understand that it went for that really gritty style. Because me and you talked before, like
yeah.
it's very gritty and it's I love it for that. But whenever I end up watching Layer Cake, like after you tell me that, I'm like, I would have thought it was 2 years, like Layer Cake was 2 years after Casino Royale. Because that's just my personal opinion though. But
Cinematography is better than Layer Cake, I'd say. And
Yeah,
Casino
yeah.
Royale felt like stretched and pixelated.
yeah,
From what I remember of it.
yeah.
Maybe just watched it on like DVD or something.
Yeah, I watched that on my iPod.
You
Touch.
watched it on like 480p on like a
In
plane ride or
portrait
something.
mode.
No, I watched it. I watched it.
Portrait mode.
I'm like, nah, give it a shot.
He had like an old flip phone. It was just like, oh, this is great.
It's like 2 pixels a second or something like that.
It's dead.
I was continue. Don't
I
know.
literally charged that.
We have audio too, remember?
I'll already be off camera now. That's fine.
Oh my god, this is gonna suck.
What's
Oh
it
dear. Do you know what we're literally gonna have to do?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to you're gonna have to be a JPEG.
That's fine.
But like I don't. Oh, this
JPEG Tom.
Just get a picture of me from this episode and there is put it like either beside you or behind you.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Or the forest picture.
Not the forest
The
picture.
eyes.
Please, not the forest picture. Anything but that forest.
We don't want to
picture.
scare the audience, demented Tom. You know?
Is that one still recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is gonna have more technical issues in the first part, but anyway.
Roughneck.
Roughneck, it literally is. But anyway, so Layer Cake, like I was saying these earlier, I looked into. I didn't realize how much how much people disliked it. Like it's not like, oh, everyone hates it. It's just, but there's quite a number of people that don't like it.
Well, I feel as if that's like, I understand like whenever you have like, it's got a very very distinct style. And I think when movies have very distinct styles, you're gonna have people who like that style, especially when the storytelling aspect, and some people are gonna hate it. And there are points in it where it's like it goes from thing to thing, like story point, but they're all three different.
Oh, I love that when there's all these ties and they all come together.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing.
But as someone who like really enjoys that in a film,
Yeah.
you also have people who just want Marvel. Hey guys, look, there's Iron Man. He's gonna
There's
kill the
all
he's gonna
there
defeat
for
the
you.
bad guy.
Yeah.
There's Thanos. He snapped his fingers. Oh no, they're all gone now.
It's like,
It's like
yeah,
it's like
nothing
people are
you can
gonna
read
want
into.
like
Yeah.
it's like you're gonna have people who want very simple storytelling, which is very good. I like movies that are simple. They're very straight to the point. But you're also gonna have these very complex, like back and forth to different scenes, like sort of
Yeah, I don't
tying
think-
together.
Maybe complex cinema's dying out.
Uh,
Well, it has been. Because
Well,
Marvel's
that's
what's making
actually-
their money in it. So.
yeah.
That's actually true. That I think it was Tom Hanks said in the past couple of years. He was just like, he thinks it might only be a couple of years before stuff like your Marvel blockbusters and all of that and Star Wars is like all that's in the cinema.
Yeah.
Like you won't stuff like well, I guess Layer Cake. But I'm trying to think what's the last film I went to see that would be considered, just a regular drama.
The Ethan Hawke one. Well, that was
Ethan
a
Hawke.
horror
Well, horror does pretty well because a lot of people. But like something like, what would we have seen recently?
God.
Like last year we watched that Mortal Kombat movie. I wouldn't call it a blockbuster, but it was pretty.
Well, it wanted to be.
Yeah, but I do know what you mean. Like a lot of the films that aren't Marvel films, like you go into the cinema and there's like one person sitting there. It's like,
well, this one will probably do well because it's Christopher Nolan. But that one, Oppenheimer, that you were talking about, stuff like that. There's like a drama.
I feel like I should do well, but after the first week, it's gonna be empty or something.
Yeah,
usually that's the case, and it's like,
well, like that's I don't know why I slammed that. That's like one movie I watched maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, Tenet. I think it's Tenet. That movie, when it was released, I don't know if it grossed well. Like,
I think it grossed. It didn't do well at the start.
It didn't do well at the
start.
People didn't understand it. It's like that's the whole concept. I know the time concept. But people don't understand why it was going back in time. And to be fair, I did watch a video and the guy literally says like you would need a PhD to understand half the stuff that's said in it. But like, if you're just watching, it's just a time travel like kind of battle movie. Like you're mainly watching a movie for the cool stuff. Like I wasn't watching like what movie I think of like Universal Soldier of Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I was like, this guy, like, I really want to know the robotics behind his suit and stuff like that. I didn't need to know the details. I just wanted to watch the action.
Mm.
And to be fair, after Inception, people probably do go into the idea of a Christopher Nolan film of like, this is going to be jarring. There's going to be things, but you should know that if you're going in to view that movie. Like, you should go in and view thinking it's going to be very easy to understand.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think most people who actually enjoy Christopher Nolan films enjoyed it. It just didn't do overly well to start, from what I remember.
He puts a lot of thought into like his like stories.
Yeah.
And they're just so twisted. And it's like something you had to watch a couple times, and like people walk out in the first sitting. It's that thing. So.
Well, like they could kind of maybe go against. But like, how long do you think people have been saying? Because I can imagine, see, like back in like the 80s, 90s, whenever you had all these like kind of blockbusters starting to get released, you would probably have people going like, oh, I don't know if I can actually make this film because it might not like sell enough. Like you look at like some of the cult films that sell.
Yeah.
It's like you're always gonna have a place for certain movies, but I think one of the issues is, and now this was maybe a controversial say, your movie has to be either really good, like artsy, like really good, or it has to be artsy really bad for it to do well. I don't think you can have a film anymore that is just it's okay. I understand you don't go into any film thinking it's going to be okay.
What about romance though? Romances always sell.
Well, rom-coms, they're...
Oh, rom-com especially, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like all the mums are going...
50 Shades of Grey.
Like, oh, Davies, my husband's not here. I'm going to watch a rom-com with Matt Damon in it.
Feeling a bit cheeky today.
A bit saucy with the girls,
Pull up with the chicas.
All the chicas.
But, no, what was the thing I was saying? Yeah, so Tom Hanks was saying that, like, movies like that, he could see them whenever they were made now, going straight to the likes of Netflix and stuff like that there. And cinema just becoming Marvel, Star Wars, big stuff like that. And, like, because like, there's a lot of cinemas in the country that are rerunning, like, old films.
Yeah.
Yeah, Movie House is doing that.
Yeah, like, they're
rerunning, like, Christmas films right now for some reason.
Real Christmas films right now?
I seen one, and, like, Happy Gilmore was in it.
Like a bit of
God's good.
Like a bit off topic, but like you're saying that the store I work in already has Christmas stuff out.
Every shop does, but you go into like the likes of Tesco's and stuff now, massive shelf of Christmas stuff, wee tiny thing of Halloween things, like it's.
Yeah.
I love it. Christmas is good. But these guys are gonna be like, oh, don't put your tree up. It's so weird. It doesn't matter. It's a tree, man. Oh god, he's gonna cut me from the podcast.
Check if you have a temperature.
You're not gonna see Michael next week, guys.
It's just my body parts.
I'm right here. I'm right here from the fans.
Yeah, I'm going on the naughty list this Christmas. Oh god. But yeah, no, back to Tom Hanks, whatever his name is. I think to that point, Hillary Swank, that politician. Anyway, these like kind of introspective films that you kind of have to read into, kind of stuff you study in English class at school. That's the kind of, maybe that's what people don't want to be going to see in cinema, because cinema's more oriented towards entertainment, and it always has been. You couldn't even argue with that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
So if you're going to watch a film in cinema, you don't want it to be like getting a notepad out. So I understand that, but there's like really good like Christopher Nolan films. you know, they're only going to cater to a certain audience most of the time.
Like, how I describe it is, everyone complains at the moment how, including myself to an extent, complains about how Marvel's going in the idea of just chucking comedy constant into their movies.
Oh, yeah.
But part of the reason that would be is because if you have comedy and action in your film, people are wanting to be entertained and they're going to pay money at a cinema. Most times they're not really wanting to think; they're just wanting to see stuff and laugh at stuff.
Get away from the job.
Yeah, so like it does make sense, but like there are some movies where like it is just better to see them in cinema because of things like the surround sound systems, all stuff like that. There, so it would be a shame if it does happen, because I believe that Christopher Nolan's films, some horror movies are excellent and in cinemas because you literally just get the feel like the sounds behind you and around you and stuff like that. There, it's just.
Well, I've got the new $1 million idea.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know why there's companies that make podcasts for people because podcasting is taking off.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be a company that makes home cinemas.
Yeah.
You know, because cinemas die off.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to want a cinema in their house. And like podcasting studios are going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Home cinemas can be cheaper too.
Well, like
we'll still want that experience.
Like that's his worst nightmare.
Yeah, a home cinema.
Well, no, his worst nightmare is the idea of all cinemas shutting down. He can't go to a cinema theatre anymore. Or else,
you know, this guy is his medicine.
Doing nothing but risky hip fast.
But
it could happen. But like, I don't know. Like the thing you're saying about like a lot of films just feeling better in cinema. Like, obviously, I told you about it a couple of weeks ago. I went to like first time being in IMAX because I was with my dad and we watched Jaws, right?
Oh, IMAX is different though. That's like a real.
Oh yeah, but like
if that died out, I'd be like, oh.
Oh yeah, but like the thing is, it was in IMAX to see a film from the 1970s.
Yeah.
And obviously it was like the 4K remaster of Jaws, but it was like seeing like Jaws in the cinema. It's like you kind of like, because I've seen Jaws like a ton of times. Like I've seen it at home. I've seen it once in the cinema before, but it was a wee tiny cinema in Ballymena, and they just basically played the DVD.
Yeah.
It kind of looked kind of bad blowing up on the screen.
Yeah.
But like, seeing the remastered version in IMAX, it was like almost like seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like actually, it's still outside of like a couple of shots, still holds up as like a really good, like monster film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if a film like that from like the 1970s still looks incredible in a cinema like that, it's like, I think it would be it would be really unfortunate if like another film, like films like that were coming out now, wouldn't get the same chance to make that impression in the cinema. Because if I've seen Jaws 1 billion times and seeing it in cinemas like seeing it for the first time, imagine just seeing films in there for the first time that are like of that caliber.
Yeah. It's
like,
well, you're still getting films made like that, but like how I describe it is it's like, so like you had Jaws in like that time period.
Yeah.
This time period's version of that, like if I had to see the modernized version, is like The Meg with Jason Statham, which like you never want to hear, but like if you think about it,
haven't watched it.
It's awful.
I've stopped myself.
It's like big shark, action, part comedy.
British man.
British.
You know, it can't go well.
It's never gonna go well.
You know, you spill his teas.
It's so awful. It's so awful. But
I seen it in the cinema as well.
And if you think about it, that is sort of the future. Like if you have like that's gonna be, you're gonna have those movies like your Jaws being made, but it will be more like it'll be shown for like a week to 2 weeks.
Groundbreaking films.
Yeah, but you're also gonna have those films that they're gonna be based on them type of topics, but they're just gonna be blown out of proportion, CGI to hell, and then pumped out with.
As I was saying earlier, like the technology and CGI, I think it's going to a path that's going to get really good. And you're going to enjoy seeing CGI more probably.
Well, I think
it couldn't get any worse.
Well, I think the thing with CGI is, it's really good if they take their time, but if you have ones like Marvel who are going to just pump out thing after thing after thing after thing, like you could see the decrease in their CGI from 2012 to now. You can see the difference in CG levels.
But like,
and like there's just some stuff they put out now, and I'm sitting watching like, this shouldn't. It wouldn't pass.
Thor, I've heard everything's about. Obviously, it's easy to like dog on the CGI for She-Hulk, but like there's the CGI in the TV shows are
like I love She-Hulk.
I do love a She-Hulk.
The twerking
The
scene.
CGI, oh god, the CGI in
Cut
like
that.
their shows are always dreadful, but the one that surprised me was I haven't actually seen the full film, but I've seen a good few clips from it. Doctor Strange 2, the CGI in it is weird.
Yeah.
Like it, I can't tell if it's like is this just mind bending or is it
Yeah.
like which one is it?
Well, apparently, like, there's always been those articles where it's like at the moment that their staff's being overworked, that their CG staff. Whereas, like, if anyone knows like video games, like Konami had a problem with overworking staff. So like, it's kind of connected to something I've heard in the past. But like, whenever you have some people who are overworked, you're not going to have the same output as if they're actually getting a healthy amount of time outside of their work. Especially because, like, how many projects do they run per year? And like, they're probably using the same like VFX artists and stuff like that. There, it's just
I don't know because they're always trying to up the amount of projects they have.
Yeah.
I think
Phase
it's like,
4, Phase 16.
I think it's like it's probably a good time to just sort of call it there. But like Marvel isn't.
They can't do it because the money.
Yeah, no, I don't mean that they should call it there.
It's a monopoly at this point.
But like Marvel is.
Get them around the board.
Marvel's it's a service.
Yeah.
Like they're not like still like it's literally just like a job.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
how many films do you have to get out this year? Oh right.
Yeah.
And the gamers have to see this stuff, you know, like they're feeding these hungry souls.
These hungry gamers.
These gamers getting all worked up about
Gamers.
Black Widow all day, and they get to see her on the screen. It's like a birthday party, mate. And
Now they have She-Hulk.
what? Is it? Oh yeah. I'm not gonna watch it.
All these gamers.
Yeah, gamers love Marvel or DC, is that it? DC. Gamers love DC.
No, gamers love Marvel. Trust. Gamers
Did
love
DC have a She-Hulk? I don't think so.
It's called P-Hulk.
Interesting.
Marvel or DC.
Mushy peas. This is where we fall apart.
This is literally the podcast falling apart. Yeah.
So, of Mice and Man, that's an old film.
I haven't
Oh.
seen that movie in so long.
Yeah, but did you study that in school? Because I was thinking of that when you were mentioning the old films.
No, we studied the book, but not the.
The book?
Well, that would be studying it to an extent. You studied the book.
Did we even study the book?
I didn't.
Oh, I
That
don't
was a
actually-
different class.
I don't even remember. Oh my god, I don't even remember
Oh.
what book I studied. High school was too long ago. I'm an old man.
You went to high school?
This guy was homeschooled.
Yeah. Oh. Gamer moment. This is all because I dissed DC, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we get.
So it's because you dissed all the gamers.
Gamers, I want to apologise for me.
No, I want you there.
My name is Adam Smith, and I live at. They come with like pitchforks to your house.
Right, so
It's like that bit in The Simpsons where they all come walking along.
Oh god. That was based on true events.
That's about to happen.
The Pilgrims.
well, Simpsons does tell the future apparently.
It does.
So
A Trump boy.
Hey, it's a boy.
He's a good boy.
right, so we're coming towards the end of our podcast.
Oh.
And
That's time again.
I was just going to say, so we're just going to do a little preview for next week's content.
We are.
Well, we can do a little bit.
Okay, so
This is what they expect.
So you're going to have your ZeusWeusFilm school episode on cameras.
talking about cameras, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond film, I have like a list that I've made and I just pick one from it.
I wish you could just like put a USB into like Michael's brain and then just like pull out again, and that's how you decide like what beyond film.
Oh, my
you're
script
looking
that
at.
is.
It's just like
flourish.
Michael. It's just beyond film. It's just Michael's brain. You just take a topic from it every week.
Oh, we
That'll
could
be
do
like the
that.
best ever.
You're assuming this topic's in there.
Do you just work with Elon Musk?
You
Oh,
working
yeah.
with a beast?
No, he's working with the Beast. I mean, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Someone's working.
Oh my god.
And then you're gonna have the
Beyond film, as far as topics for it this week, I have a few that I'm keeping in mind, but I have one picked. What we talk about though, think about what film to talk about.
yeah.
That's a. I don't know, Jeff.
What about we get what do you call it, Netflix party app? Watch one over Netflix and Discord or someday if we can't meet. Even on the Sunday after work, we can meet and watch one.
Are you a gamer?
I'm more of a Amazon Prime guy. So no, but like if we watch a film before we do the talk about something, it means we all know what the film is. We can share knowledge on it. Yeah.
And then next episode of Hunt the Files will be coming out next Thursday. So if you guys could leave in the comments any potential places in Northern Ireland that we could maybe travel to, or any ideas in general. We already have some written down, but we're not going to devolve those yet.
And there may be one about a bell tower man coming to fruition.
Coming to fruition sometime soon.
Yes.
But we're not going to say the last word because...
It's absolutely tragic.
Tragic story.
You know,
so,
all the people...
Bell tower.
That was a mic drop moment.
That was a mic drop.
That was awful.
You're fired.
That was awful.
From your own podcast.
You can't fire me from my own podcast.
On the backbone.
I started this company.
Well, it's just business, so ain't nothing personal, kid. Anyway, Tom, you're in his seat now. You're back in. Okay.
Alright. So, and then next Friday, we'll have a less technical issued version of the post-production podcast.
Post-production podcast.
So this happens before or after?
Happens post.
Post? Oh, okay.
Just post all of our productions, that's why it's got the name.
Oh, I'm with you.
Okay. I want to cut this off here. Michael, we need to get Michael to bed.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to bed.
You're going to bed.
Can't do this.
Can't argue with that.
You're not getting any supper.
Oh, you bastard. You bastard. You You're going to beep all this, you son
I'm
of
not.
That's actually so racist.
I'm not even going to beep.
You got to beep it, man. It's more fun. Just keep beeping everything I say, you know.
What if we do an episode where we don't tell Michael, but we just beep every word he says?
God.
Michael just speaks and beeps.
Can you just imagine? I go to talk to him, I'm just like, hey Michael, just goes...
Oh, sorry, what was that, Michael? Can't hear you, beep, beep, beep.
We talking about Shark Tale.
But if people are wanting to see episodes of the podcast uncensored...
Oh, aye.
Or anything like that, where should they go to, Adam?
They should go to patreon.com/ZeusWeusFilm, where you get access to 2 tiers. The £1 tier, which gets you access to the Discord server, gamers.
My personal favourite.
Michael loves Discord.
And a wee look behind the scenes. And then £5, you get the full ZeusWeusFilm experience, which gets you that, plus access to more of the Discord server, the rest of it, and uncensored versions of videos, including this podcast.
Literal nudity.
Michael's getting everything off for this one.
Mate.
And in the future, we do plan to do some sort of mini show after the podcast.
Yeah.
That's an idea we have doing. It's just at the moment, we're already having so many technical difficulties with...
We literally had one camera and 2 lights die during this podcast.
So
they're gushing.
You can't even see me right now. I'm a JPEG.
You are no different than the Beast.
He's got all technical on us.
You use CGI to remap my face.
Yeah.
He's like moving. It's all weird.
We'll deep
So guys,
let's motion capture my face.
We'll just like have like 2 JPEGs go like that there.
He's like an alligator.
You know. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Post-Production Podcast. I certainly enjoyed filming it.
I love filming.
I enjoyed listening.
And on that,
the camera says no.
Well, JPEGs.
Sorry, that camera again.
Slap some JPEGs up.
Did you not say that? I realised that and on that. It was cut.
We'll all be JPEGs at the end.
Audio run out.
Okay. We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye, gamers.
Bye bye.
I'm sorry.